Jake here for AmericanMuscle.com, and today I've got this MBRP 2.5-inch Cat-Back quad rear exit exhaust with carbon fiber tips for 2015 and newer Challengers with the 3.6-liter V6. Now, if you've got a Pentastar powered Challenger and you find yourself craving a better exhaust note with more volume, then look no further because MBRP has got you covered. Not only is this a good-looking system with these carbon fiber tips, but it also has some really nice features, a good sound, and a solid construction, all at a pretty reasonable price. Now, when it comes to modifying V6 engines, it often tends to be a struggle to get them to sound good. A lot of the times just uncorking that exhaust with a straight pipe setup or something like that, as you might do with a V8, just isn't going to yield a good sound. However, MBRP has managed to make an exhaust that both sounds good and is unobtrusive while you're driving along. As you heard from the clips in the beginning of the video, this system has a really nice tone to it. Outside of the car, it's got that cool little bassy, growly type sound that gets a little raspier in the higher RPMs, just like you expect out of a good V6. Now, to my ear, it sounds pretty cool, and it amplifies the good sounds without making it drony or too loud. MBRP classifies this system as a street profile, and with good reason. Inside the cabin, the exhaust is noticeably louder than stock, but it's not obtrusive. You can easily carry on a conversation, and the volume drops off noticeably when you reach highway cruising speeds. However, when you really bury the throttle, you're still going to get some of that nice sound out of the pipes. Now, the system also includes an X-pipe, which is not something you find on a lot of others. X-pipes help even out exhaust pulses caused by uneven firing orders like you find in a V6 or traditional V8. They cross over right here, hence the X. This is also going to help even out the exhaust pressure, and all that combines to eliminate exhaust drone in the cabin. It's a really nice feature to have, and it contributes to how good this exhaust sounds. You also get these two suitcase mufflers to keep things controlled and sounding good as they're coming out of the tips. Now, the whole thing is made from T304 stainless steel, so it's going to stand up well to the elements and provide really good corrosion resistance. But the coolest part has to be the tips. Now, replacing the dual rectangular tips that you get stock on a Challenger are these twin tips with carbon fiber finishes. Now, I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of carbon fiber myself, but I have to admit, I kind of really like these. I think they bring a unique and subtle update to the look of your Challenger. Also, since they are a clamp-on style, you have the benefit of being able to adjust them as you see fit. So if you like your tips to sit a little more flush with the bumper like so, or if you want them to stick out a little bit for more of that hot rod muscle car look, you have the option to do that. So how much is this all going to cost? Well, as with most exhausts, it doesn't exactly come cheap. This system will run you around $1,200. Now, that is pretty standard for the category. Of course, you can get something cheaper, but the benefit to spending a little more money here is that you are getting that excellent corrosion resistance, the high quality finish, these cool tips, and an exhaust that sounds good without drone. And to me, that's the most important part. It really has a lot of nice features, and if you want to upgrade the exhaust in your V6 Challenger, you really owe it to yourself to consider this system. And that brings us to the install. Coming in at a 1 out of 3 on our difficulty meter, this is a job you can certainly accomplish yourself at home in around an hour's time. This is a complete bolt-in system, so you don't have to cut or modify anything on the exhaust or on your car. You're going to reuse your stock exhaust hangers, and all the clamps that you need to secure everything together are also included in the box. And to show you how to install this on your Challenger, here's one of our American Muscle customers to walk you through it.
The tools I used were 2 heavy-duty rams, 4 wheel clocks to hold them in place, 2 3-ton jack stands, and 2 6-ton jack stands. The factory jack, a breaker bar, a torque wrench, 2 ratchets, variations on the 15mm sockets, 13mm sockets, 10mm sockets, a 15mm wrench, a 13mm wrench, a 10mm wrench, 2 extensions, a swivel head, 2 screwdrivers, some pliers, and a rubber mallet.
Hi guys, today we'll be installing the MBRP Cat-Back Exhaust System stainless steel with a quad carbon fiber tips on my 2021 Dodge Challenger SXC. Let's begin.
Okay, now that we're under the car, we gotta loosen the 2 clamps that hold the factory X-pipe to the factory converters. So we'll start doing it with a 15mm wrench. What we gotta do is loosen it up. Once you got it about as loose as you can get it with a 15mm wrench, you can go with a 15mm ratchet as long as it's to the correct depth. We can keep loosening it up. Okay, there we go. Now that it's loose to the hand, we can go to the driver's side of the nut, start loosening that one. Okay, once that's a little bit looser, I can use the ratchet. Once that's loose, we start to move it around, loosen up that clamp. We can use a flathead screwdriver to open it up, open up the clamps a little bit, just enough so they can move around. Okay. We got a rubber mallet that we can give it a couple of whacks. Okay. Now we're gonna move down to the mid mufflers. We're on the mid muffler side of the exhaust. We're gonna loosen the bolt to the hangers for the driver's side first. Then we'll go to the passenger side. It's a fairly long bolt in a little tight space, so we're gonna need a ratchet. Then we're gonna switch it up to the wrench, since we're limited on space. Let me put it here on the. Okay. Now we're gonna be loosening it up with the 13 millimeter wrench. It's gonna take a little bit of time, but it's gonna be all worth it. I'm using conventional tools right here, but if you have a ratchet wrench, this process could go a little bit quicker. It's just some patience. Only loosen the bolt. Do not try to loosen up the nut. It's welded on to the chassis of the vehicle. You may damage it if you try to do that. So just go slow, steady with patience, and you'll get that bolt out. Promise you. Let's see if it's okay. Once it's almost there, you can loosen it up with your hand. There we go. Now we got our first hanger bolt, and as you can see, you can disengage it, but don't do it yet, since we're gonna use that clip to hold the completed exhaust system, before we can take it all down. So we're gonna loosen up all the bolts first, then we can take it out as one single piece. Let's move to the passenger side. Passenger side, and we're gonna start loosening this bolt. Try to get a good position. Okay, there we go. Start loosening it. This one's a little bit looser once you untighten it. I think I can start loosening it up, yeah, with my hand until a certain point. Okay, there we go. So this, like on the other side, with a little bit of patience. Okay, it's loose enough so I can take it out with my finger. That's bolt, second bolt from the passenger side. The first bolt of the hangers, we're gonna place it right here. Okay, so now we're going to the last two hangers on the driver's side. Yes. So I used a jack stand because these hangers are, once I loosen up the bolt, it's gonna come down a little bit, so I don't want it to come down on me. I'm using a extension tool, a 13 millimeter, and a breaker bar just to loosen these up a little bit. You see, it's coming down a bit. Once it's a little bit loose, I'm gonna switch to a ratchet so I can do it a little bit faster. Okay, the bolt's almost loose. I think it's a couple of turns and it's all the way on. Okay. I think it's, yeah, it is. So we got the bolt loose. We're gonna go to the back of the muffler side to loosen this one. For this one, we're gonna use the same 13mm with an extension tool and a swivel head, since it's a little bit of an angle. Sorry. We're gonna try it without the breaker bar first, just to see if we can get it out. Okay. Let's see. Try to hold the tool in place so you don't strip the nut. Okay. Let's see. Everything's coming down. At this point, you can take it out with your hands, since the muffler is being held by the jack stand. Now that we have all the hangers, the bolts for the hangers, they're loose on the driver's side. Before we go to the passenger side, I want to take off the factory square tips, so when we take off all the hanger bolts, these tips are not going to be on the way. So first, to make it a little bit easier, we're going to take out these two nuts that are holding the underside of the bumper. So it's fairly easy. A 10mm socket. So we're going to take off these nuts. Take this. Okay, we can put them to the side over here. So now we got this part that's off, so we can get to the 10mm bolt that is holding the inside part of the tip. We can use a swivel head up for this one. And so we'll stretch it out a little bit and start losing this one. We can go slow so we don't strip that bolt. There we go. And I think it's loose enough so I can take it out with my hand. This is the little bolt that's holding the inside part of the factory tips. There's another one on the far side that you need to loosen up too. Take your swivel head into that part and start loosening it. I'm going to start loosening it. Okay, there we go. So that's that part. That's that part there. We loosened up the bumper bolts and we started taking off the factory tips, but there's another bolt on the top of those tips. But before we do that, I want to take all the bolts from the hangers, because once we got this part a little bit loose, the mufflers are gonna go out even smoother. So take off this bolt. It's not that tight, so you can take it out with a wrench and 13mm socket with an extension. And also remember to have something hold the rear muffler so it doesn't fall on your face. You don't want that. Okay, now that we have that bolt out, we're gonna take out the last one using a 13mm wrench, but this time with a swivel head so we can reach the hanger. So we're gonna go over here to this last bolt, position it in such a way that we can break it loose. And look. A little bit of, there we go. Okay. Perfect. Got the bolt out. As you can see, the jack stand is holding the muffler. So now we're gonna go to the mid muffler side and take the hangers off the hook, so we can start taking out all the factory exhaust. Now we're almost done taking off the factory exhaust system. To make it a little bit easier, we're gonna loosen these bolts, but since they're spring loaded, I gotta press. So just to make things safer, we're gonna loosen these bolts slowly so that the spring doesn't come off and doesn't hurt either me or my camera woman. So we're doing this slow and loosening the press a little bit by bit, not too much. Always make sure you got the press holding the bolt. Now we got the bolt and the spring out. We can put that to the side, and I'll get my 13mm ratchet and deep socket so I can fast forward the other side. But you see, by taking our time during this bolt, we ensured that it's not gonna go flying out and hit anything and cause an injury. There we go. We got the bolt and the spring. We took those two bolts out, so we're now gonna take the passenger, the driver's side of the exhaust system. So we gotta be a little bit careful because it's heavy. So I got two jack stands over here. The small one is gonna be holding it once I take the biggest jack stand out. So you can see, you're gonna need a little bit of a wiggle room right here. So I'm gonna move this a little bit just to make room. Okay. Now that we got this one off, I'm gonna let it go on the ground and just take it off piece by little bit by little bit. Perfect. We got the driver's side off. Now we're gonna start taking the whole system off from the X pipe all the way down to the passenger side. Okay, so now we're going to the passenger side of the exhaust system. I'm gonna take it off the bigger jack stand and transfer it to the smaller one, but we're gonna triangle it a little bit since the screws for the factory tips are way too uncomfortable to take out. We're gonna move it a little bit and finagle it so we can take it off. We got it out. I'm gonna put jack stands over here. It's off on this side. We're gonna move it. Take off this big jack stand. Get under it again. Now, since we have it like this, we can start taking these bolts off. We finally took these bolts, just two more on the top side of the factory square tips. We get the ratchet over here, and it's a 10mm ratchet to take these four bolts out. You need to hold it on this last one because it's gonna come off like so. So once this is off, you're gonna want to take the factory square tips, put them aside, and then reinstall the I think you could call it a shroud. So when you put the aftermarket exhaust tips, they're gonna hold like that and it'll look uniform. Let's go to the passenger side so we can take off the square tip. Nope. There's one. I got another one. And then the last one is on the far side. So need to get there. And now that it's off, be careful putting this, taking this off, since it's being jammed in there by the factory exhaust system. Now we got it off. And you want to take this and put it back on. It should be fairly easy. You can start by lining them up and grating them with your fingers so you don't cross thread them. Okay, it's there. One more. On the right side of this, put it there. Okay. Then, with a combination of a ratchet, 10mm deep socket, and a 10mm wrench for the inside one, you can start tightening. So it doesn't move. Perfect. That one's good. I'm going to the far side. There we go. That's tight, that's tight. I'm gonna take the wrench and tighten this one. This one you're gonna have to tighten like this. Or if you have a small ratchet, which I'm gonna go get right now, the small ratchet with a 10mm to get into that space right there, like so. Right there, a little bit tight. Check the other 3 bolts just to make sure it's right on there, and you're done. On this side, it looks uniform for when you put your new exhaust system. So, final step to taking out the factory exhaust system. I just moved it a little bit to loosen it from the factory converter pipes. So, one last pull, and we're gonna be taking the factory exhaust out and putting the aftermarket exhaust in. So, let's go. Okay. You gotta be careful since it is heavy. The biggest part is already on the floor. Okay. So now we have on display the factory exhaust system. As you can see, a factory X-pipe mid muffler and rear muffler compared to the aftermarket system that we're going to be installing. X-pipe into performance mufflers, muscle car performance mufflers, straight pipe all the way to quad carbon fiber tips made by MBRP. The Cat-Back Exhaust System, stainless steel T304 with carbon fiber tips. Now we have the whole factory exhaust system out and the aftermarket exhaust system on my left. We're gonna be taking off the rubber hangers that are gonna be placed on the aftermarket exhaust. They have the hangers already positioned, and we're gonna be taking these 6 rubber hangers off. It's gonna be a little bit of you're gonna use a little bit of force to take it off. But once it's off, you can easily There we go. So this is gonna be the hanger. We're gonna be placing it on the aftermarket side. And in the aftermarket side, it's quite a bit easier since it doesn't have the tip that is preventing it from taking it off from the factory. So once you put it on the aftermarket, this is gonna be what it looks like. So when you put it back on your Challenger, it'll hang there, right there, all nice, safe, and snug. So we're gonna be doing that on the other 6 rubber hangers. Be taking them off. So let's finish on the driver side of the exhaust system. It's gonna be a little bit tricky because as I said, you're gonna be needing a little bit of force. If you don't have the hanger remover tool, you're gonna be using a little bit of force. There we go. 2 down, 4 more to go. There it is. You got 3 more to go. So you don't lose track of where you're supposed to put them. You can put them next to your new hangers on your aftermarket. Place them right there. Yes. Now we gotta go. I suggest, since the rear muffler side is the tightest one, start with that one and work your way down to the mid muffler one. So we're here. And it's off. Perfect. Do the same as the other 2. Put it on the corresponding side of your aftermarket exhaust. Let's go to the last 2. On this one, you gotta take off this clip before trying to take off the hanger. So take it off on both sides. There we go. Put it on the side. You're gonna need it for this one over here. Then the same as the last one, but on this one you got a little bit more room. So take your screwdriver, place it, then start moving it around. Now that you're there, give it some more pulling force. And you got it off. Put it to the side, to your aftermarket, with the clip. This is the last one. Be careful, since you got these 2 bolts. You don't want to cut yourself or get an injury. Put again your screwdriver in between the hanger. Start moving it around, back and forth. Perfect. There we go. We got all the hangers out. So now we can go ahead, put it next to the aftermarket exhaust system, and then start putting it on. Okay, now that we got all the hangers off the factory exhaust system, we're gonna put them on the aftermarket. So let's go. We already put this one on. It's right there. We can adjust it once we start installing it on the Challenger. But let's start with this one. As you see, you just move it back and forth. Perfect, until you see the end of the hanger. And leave it right there. We're good on that one. Let's go to the last 2 on the passenger side. There we go. And remember that you had this clip. Put it back over here and on the hanger part. And there you go. You got that one over there. let's put the last one on the back, right here. There we go. Let's go to the driver's side to finish installing the last two. Right here on the driver's side. Let's go. There we go. And the last one. Perfect. As you can see, all the hangers are placed. We have it displayed with all the clamps where they're supposed to go. Next, we'll be installing the aftermarket exhaust on our 2021 Dodge Challenger SXC. Before we start installing the aftermarket exhaust, we need to put the 4 bolts on this cover and also on these 2 bolts so we can hold the rear bumper. We start by putting them by hand, just enough until they catch, and then we'll go in with the 10mm socket to put them all the way through. This one is the tightest one, the one in the inside part next to the fuel tank. Then we can go in, start tightening it. Okay, that's good and tight. Go to the next one. All good as a nut right there. Check the last one. Good. I'll go to the far side one to get all the easiest one. There we go. It's good and snug. So we'll go to the inside one. If you have a small ratchet with a 10mm, it's gonna make things a lot easier. Or even better, you can take a 10mm wrench, since it's a little bit uncomfortable, but that will take a little bit more time. But patience is key to not break anything or strip any bolt. You can check if the clearance it's enough, so you can squeeze 10mm ratchet right there. If you have enough clearance, you can go ahead and finish it off. Okay, just so it's snug right there. Check the other bolts, make sure they're good. Perfect. A little bit there, and a little bit. Let's move to these bumper bolts to finish off. Right here, they're 10mm. If you have a little bit longer deep socket cup, a 10mm, you can do it so you have better control of it. So we'll start with this one. Put it by hand until it can go no further, and the other one too, and like that. Perfect. And we can start tightening it. Not too tight, so it's fastened right there. Let's go to this side. There we go. Perfect. Now we gotta check. We'll just do a little check on the driver's side of the cover to make it even, like this. Perfect. And since we already tightened the bumper, all I'm gonna need is that 10mm wrench for the inside nut, and just there we go. Next, we're gonna be installing the aftermarket exhaust. I have a jack over here, so I can pull it up and hold the aftermarket X pipe so that I can then start tightening the clamps. Very helpful. You should put the clamps first, obviously, since after it's installed, you're not gonna have room to put it in. So you're gonna need a little bit of elbow grease right here, installing it. And get that jack stand up. Here we go. I'm gonna get the rubber mallet so I can install it even easier. If you have a piece of wood so you don't damage the ends of the aftermarket exhaust, you can put them right there. You just give it some taps on both sides. Hold it. Important thing, you don't want any gaps in between each joint of the aftermarket exhaust because you don't want any gases leaking out. So this is a safety measure. You can do it a couple of times. Then you go down and check. Make sure you don't move anything so it doesn't fall on you. And you can come down here, and as you can see, I'm almost all the way in until the tube starts trimming down. And if I check over here, I don't see any exposed tubing. So for my own peace of mind, I'll give it 2 more taps at the back end. All these bolts are 15-inch socket. So my advice to you is to get a deep socket wrench like this one, and take your time doing it because since it's by hand, it's gonna take a little time. Very important, you want to put it right there where the seams are, so it holds the whole structure together. Okay, it's getting a little bit tighter, so I want to put the extension right here so I can have a little bit more leverage and make the job a little bit easier. You are gonna want to put some elbow grease right there. Perfect. That's not going anywhere. Now do the same to the other side. Now that we have the aftermarket X pipe installed, it's not gonna go anywhere. So next we're gonna be installing the next portion of the aftermarket exhaust. Now we're on the muffler part of the exhaust. I have 2 jack stands right here to help me out with the installation. So first we'll put the clamps inside, so they're already situated right there in the direction I want them. I want them to be on this side so I can better work with them. I'm gonna install the driver's side muffler first, being very careful with the edges. Remember, they are steel. And do it like this. Perfect. And they stay there, but for my own peace of mind, you can put a jack stand, or you can put it on this side, so holding the pipe in place. Then I'm gonna move my way down, because at this point I'm gonna put the passenger side muffler. So moving carefully, remember, be careful with the edges. Put it right there, all the way in, and get your jack stand to hold the pipe. On this case, I'm gonna need to put it on the far side so it doesn't sway to each side. because I want it straight. There we go. And I'm gonna take my tools right here. And also, very important, the clamps that we're gonna be using for now on are gonna be the 2.5 inch clamps. And also remember, on the passenger side, you don't have that much room right here. So you're gonna be putting the clamp in a bit of an angle. It's a difference with the driver's side. Let's start tightening these clamps. This side is almost pretty much tight to the point where I can go to the other side. Just give it a little bit. Perfect. That's not going anywhere. Now I'm gonna go to the passenger side. Before we do that, we gotta make sure it's straight so it doesn't rub on the floor or anything like that. So I'm gonna put my jack stand right there and hold it to the desired angle. Let's go to the passenger side. As you see, it's moving a little bit. That's okay because we're gonna clamp it down as hard as we can. It doesn't move ever. Okay, let me see. I'm gonna move it a little bit just to see. As you can see, it's not clamped all the way down as we want it to. So we're gonna keep clamping down until it's tight enough. So we're finishing tightening this hanger bolt. It's right there. It's in place. It's not gonna go anywhere. If you have a small ratchet with a 13mm socket, you can get in here. I don't have one, so I'll keep doing it with this wrench. But it takes a little bit of time with basic tools. You can do it, but it'll take a little bit of time. Let me just check if I can get the wrench in there. Perfect, I can get the wrench in there. Just enough. Perfect, there we go. Now that that's done, I can take it off. Change my sockets to the 15mm so I can tighten the clamps, not all the way, but just tight enough so that I can keep going down the pipe. And that's about it. I can put it in there without leave it right there. So we're on the last part of the pipes for the exhaust. We're gonna be placing these two bolts. We're gonna be tightening them with a 13mm socket. And take this one out. It's held on. Let me get this out real quick. I can put this here. So, gonna wanna tighten it. There we go. And on this back side. On this one, to make it a little bit easier, you can use a swivel head. Get on the end. Right here. There you go. And there we go. Okay. Alright, that's there. secure. I take the swivel head off. I can secure this last one. Okay. So keep it tight so it doesn't move. You have it right there. We got the aftermarket exhaust tips. We're gonna place them all the way in. Then with the clamps, we'll put it right there. As you can see, we're gonna place it so they're straight with the bumper, and tighten the bolt. There you go, like that. Tighten it so it doesn't move. Right there. There we go. As you can see, this is the driver's side. We got all the way to the carbon fiber tips. We're gonna do the same for the passenger side. So we finished. We have the aftermarket exhaust system installed right there with the carbon fiber tips.
That's going to do it for our review and install of this MBRP Cat-Back exhaust with carbon fiber tips for 2015 and newer V6 Challengers. Thanks so much for watching, and for more products and videos like this for your Challenger, be sure to stick with us right here at AmericanMuscle.com.